May 4th. Come on, I don't have. Is the agenda here? I don't have the agenda. That's May 4th. Done.
Nope. That's May, no, it's May. It's March. Thank you, Hazel Danielson.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Gary.
Okay. Okay, we're all set. All right, I'd like to call the Coventry zoning board to order. This time here, I'd like to call out the fire escapes on to your rear, the ones to my rear taking into the building. So there's only 2 fire escapes and they're to your rear. This time here, I'd like to do a roll call, please.
Bob Crow,
Yeah.
Keith Cloutier,
Here.
Russ Lockley,
Present.
Ed Ionati.
Here.
Michael New,
Here.
Ross Pelletier.
Here.
Okay, let us show reflect. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 members present, so we can conduct the meeting. Okay, I looked at the approval of the May 4th, 2022 meeting.
So moved.
Okay.
Seconded.
Made and seconded. All those approved, say aye.
Aye.
Nays, ayes have it.
Well, Mr. Crow, for the record, I just want to do some housekeeping. The matter of American Tree Service has been continued to August 3rd, 2022 at 7 o'clock.
Thank you.
Also, under new business, the application of Henry Arnold on Narrow Lane has been withdrawn. There's been some changes to the state law regarding accessory structures, and the matter of Dwayne Desroges is going to be continued to August 3rd, 2022 at 7 o'clock.
You can have it.
Okay. What was the first one?
American Tree.
American Tree. Okay. What was the other one?
It's Henry Arnold.
6.6.
6.8.
6.8.
Of 655 Narrow Lane. It was a special use permit for an accessory dwelling structure that has been taken off the agenda.
And the last one.
Thank you.
And Dwayne Desroges has been continued to August 3rd, 2022 at 7 PM.
Okay. This time here, I'd like to ratify the decisions. The applicant of Joshua Mays,
Maze.
Lot Franklin Road, down 20. Applicant seeking a dimension variance, construct a 2 by 30 barn in front of the property, 32 feet from the property. That was approved. And do I have a ratification on that?
Motion to ratify.
Second.
Motion's made, second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays, ayes have it. Okay, I understand the applicant of North and Talent Church of Earth, we are to hold over.
That's correct.
That's by legal counsel. Okay, couple of members had questions on that. Ed, you had a question about that?
Yeah, I'm just wondering why are they holding it over the legality or?
Yeah, it's on the solicitor's advice to hold it.
The solicitor has recommended that we table this for this meeting and continue it to the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions from the board? All those that wish to continue it, by aye.
Motion to continue.
Second.
Continue second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays, ayes have it. Okay. Next one is applicant owner, Stephen Shapiro. 12 Hill Farm Camp Road, special use permit and put an 8x14 addition to the rear of the house. That application was approved. Do I have a ratification on that decision?
So moved.
Second.
Ratification made, seconded, by Mike. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Okay. Next applicant, Alan Mackey.
Lemay.
Okay, assessor plot map 70, plot 72, 25 Reasonway Road. Seeking a special use permit for an 18 by 18 carport, 16 feet from the side lot line. That application was approved. Do I have an approval for the ratification of that decision?
So moved to ratify.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Yay, ayes have it. Okay, next one was Jacqueline
Bakari.
Bakari, trust of James A. Bakari family. Says it's plot map 99. 836 Hill Forest Road. After seeking a dimensional variance for the farm. Okay, that was setbacks, property lines, dimensional relief, existing garage, dimensional relief, so insufficient size. That was approved, and that was mostly all applicants was doing it all by survey. Do I have a ratification on that?
Motion to ratify.
Motion made by
Second.
seconded by
Mike.
Mike. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Okay. Okay, that's
5.2.
huge.
Cassandra Perry.
Okay, that was continued of. That's over.
Oh, that's old business.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay, if anybody's here for the American Tree Service, that has been continued to next month. That will not be heard. Next one is Cassandra Perry. Applicant is Mark Perry. And that's assessed plot map 323, lot 189, 20 Allison Road. Applicant is seeking a special use permit and a dimensional variance to construct a 14 by 24 garage in the yard 5 feet from the side property. With 15 feet is required. I went over and took a look at their.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I have to recuse myself. I'm the butter.
I think it's gonna do nothing but improve the area. not a big project to do. Much better, no donkey garage.
Yeah, I looked at it also, and I'm in agreement with you. It'll be an improvement.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, so unless there's any other further questions on this, I'd like to have a vote on this application tonight.
Make a motion, we vote on it tonight?
Second it.
Okay, motion's made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, names. Okay, I'll do a roll call vote on that. Ed Ionati, how do you vote?
Approve.
Russ? How do you vote?
Approve.
Mike, how do you vote?
Approve.
Keith?
Approve.
Okay, applications approved and I accept. Okay, the next one is the owner applicant. Can you read this into the record?
The owner applicant is Kirsten Spermuli. Location is AP 310 Lot 174.1, 1928 Victory Highway. The zone is RR5. Applicants is seeking a dimensional variance to construct a 30 by 26 foot in-law, 59.9 feet from the rear property line where 90 feet is required.
Okay, is the applicant here? Please come to
Mr. Chair, if I can just step in real quick.
Sure.
So there's been changes to state law regarding in-law apartments, whether they be attached, detached, or anything of the sort, of any type of what they call an accessory dwelling unit. And state law now requires that towns do not require a special use permit for any sort of accessory dwelling unit. And that's why Kerry read it into the record as such. So in this case, we're strictly speaking to the dimensional variance, and that's what your purview is tonight. You won't be reviewing the in-law apartment, just the dimensional variance.
Okay, you understand that, sir?
Yes, we do. So that's all from going forward, all accessory family dwelling units?
That's correct.
Okay, please give your full name and address.
My name is Carlos Sarbre, architect, 582 Hopkins Hill Road, West Greenwich, Rhode Island.
Okay. And I'm asking you to wait, you swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth on the short.
I do.
You are the owner of the property?
No, I'm actually the architect, expert witness. We do have the applicant here. I'm not sure if she needs to come forward also for a moment or not.
So I know that she can speak, you can speak for her, but I can come up. Full name and address. I'm gonna ask for your full name and address.
Kirsten Spermuli, 1928 Victory Highway, Coventry, Rhode Island.
Okay. Raise your right hand, you swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, on this board.
That's what it is.
Okay, and this is your speaker.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Oh, good evening. I'd like to bring in a quick exhibit A, if that's okay. Since the planning meeting, this is a now approved DM out system map gotten to me today by Coventry Survey, where I just added some marks to it for use tonight. A quick question relative to what we just discussed a moment ago. It's understood that we're not any longer asking for the special use permit with the FDU. My question is, we also had asked for a few extra exits beyond the one that they used to allow or maybe still do. And I just wanted to check with that before I started with the dimensional variance.
Tell you the truth, I'm agreeing on this. This is all
Okay.
a big change, and I'd have to refer it to council.
Okay.
So the entrances and exits were strictly related to our zoning ordinance, and there's nothing in the state law that speaks to the number of exits and entrances in this case. Yeah, so at this time, what we're doing is we're reviewing each application administratively, and we will defer to the zoning ordinance when we can.
Okay.
And if it's permissible by state law, we will use the zoning ordinance when we can. So in this case, it doesn't say anything about entrances and exits. The zoning ordinance says you can't add any more.
Okay.
So without some sort of just cause.
Okay. So I'll be talking for a moment to that also. Currently the house, the main house is already infringed into the backyard. My client / applicant bought the house. A builder had started the house. I don't know at the time, way back, whether the zoning, requirements were different. But point is that the original house was already infringed, which I've denoted in a blue dash line here. So the black is the main house. This is Victory Highway in the front. This blue line goes right through the house and the decks and pools, et cetera, as well as a good chunk of the house itself already infringed. So my first reason for the request for our dimensional variance, which is just under 60 feet that we're requesting for this AFDU addition, as opposed to the 90 feet required. So part of the reason is the house is already infringed. We looked at several options together, my client and I. The first option we looked at was to put the AFDU over on the left side of the house. And right away, we knew that the existing out system was already there. We had to get a whole new outs design. That's depicted in red here. The thing is big. It's out toward the front of the house. So it really took those options out right away. Additionally, we had a hill that we would have fought, and we would have had a driveway probably going to Victory Highway and another curb cut, et cetera. So it was highly involved. We then looked at options over on the right side, using the garage itself and then doing a new garage, putting an addition out into the front as opposed to set back a bit. And those options essentially just took the garage away as a hub. So right now we have the existing garage of the house, which is on the left side of the house, now being central to both the AFDU and the main house. And to me, the whole point of an AFDU is to make sure it's just the homeowners. We have the family here tonight. It's my client as well as her son and wife.
You're doing a separate septic system for the in-law unit?
This is all one system.
So what are you gonna do with the existing system?
The existing system had to get upgraded, and the whole thing is a new system.
All right, so it's not approved, the existing system is not an approved system.
The existing system was approved at the time. There was already just previous to me coming on board several months ago. It is a state-approved system. I believe there was some question as to whether it needed.
You can leave it, can't you?
No, it's a pre-galley system, so in addition,
The added
it would
bedrooms.
require additional.
Added bedrooms.
They're adding
It's a bigger
bedrooms.
system.
They're adding bedrooms.
Right, so that's what I'm thinking, so you're leaving the existing system and adding on with the new system.
We're replacing the existing system with a new system because of adding the bedroom.
Why not go right back where it was?
It is where it is. It's just going larger. So currently the septic tank is right here, just in front of the proposed new one. And the field itself is in the back area of where the new one is. So it's essentially, what I should have said is it's a new, bigger system at the same location as the pre-existing.
Huh.
So my apologies.
So you're not gonna do a system, you're just gonna have one system, one new existing system.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know what's in the back.
In the back is decks and pool,
That's some cool.
existing.
And you're gonna be how far from the property line?
We're proposing for the AFTU to be just under 60 feet from the property line. The deck's already infringed much further.
You're saying the septic system.
No, the AFTU is accessory family dwelling unit, the in-law apartment.
You're calling it.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the in-law apartment would be far less infringed than the deck and pool area.
And that's not in front of us anyway, so all I'm worried about, well, we are gonna be closer to the rear property line.
We are not going to be closer by a fair margin. We're a little closer than the main house, but far less close than the decks and pool
The existing is closer.
by a fair margin. That's correct.
All right, so you're supposed to be 90 feet is required.
That's correct.
Now, 90 feet from where? Show me where.
This back line right here.
Yep.
And the blue dash line is the 90 feet. The black house is obviously, 10 or 15 feet less than that. And then our AFDU, I'm sorry, our in-law apartment extends to this point here. 59 feet, 9 inch.
You're gonna be quite a bit in.
We,
Envelope.
depends on what you mean by, we are going to be infringed, correct, by 30 foot, 3 inch.
Okay, and how about the deck?
The deck is infringed by plus or minus, and I do have my scale if you need, probably about 55 feet.
How long has that been there?
So that's 30.
It was there when you bought the
Oh,
house.
so the deck's already,
That's correct.
Yeah, it's all.
That's correct.
So what he's adding on is less than,
Let them the deck that's the other.
okay.
Correct.
so it's just the in-law unit.
That is correct.
Everything else is not over there.
Yeah, the only thing we're adding are these black dash lines right here. I'm sorry, that we're proposing to add.
Any other questions from the board?
Few other quick points if I might.
What did these doors are talking about?
Yeah, the doors, you do have a set of plans. I believe it was sheet Z3.
Yep.
So most zonings in most towns need the one entrance. I will admit to you, every time I've gone for an in-law apartment, I've asked for more. It used to be code that any dwelling unit by definition needed 2 exits. Now you can find loopholes, but my argument is that with the occupancy load that this kind of unit would be allowed to have, say 8 people, a few times a year, there's a lot more than 8 people there, and it's just safer. So we have in your plans that you see a front and back entrance that I would argue are shared by both the family and my client, that it's really kind of a hub between the house and the in-law apartment, even though it's formally in the new addition. So they kind of act as a walkthrough back to the pool area from the driveway. So those I've already exceeded by 1 with that door, with the back door. You could argue just the front door is what I'm allowed to have. But additionally, I put one over on the right that you'll see there, and that's for nothing else but safety. My client did talk about other doors out from the back near the kitchen and great room. We held off on those. We knew this rule, so we did it with the least, relief necessary, so to speak.
And if I may, that portion of the application would be handled administratively. So any part of the in-law apartment is handled by staff at this point.
And I just wanted to make one other point relative to the footprint. At our planning meeting where they did recommend our approval here tonight, somebody did ask about the skew angle. And admittedly, that got into the character of the neighborhood, especially Maxwell May's estate there, it's become Audubon next door. But to lay the house in where it kind of set back instead of sticking out, was just far more in character with the neighborhood, along that highway there. And so that's the reason on that. In layman's terms, it would have looked like a long townhouse had we not done something like that. And that's about it.
Any other questions? Take a seat. Anybody would-
Thank you.
Does anybody here who would like to speak on this application, have a question on the application or against? Regular everyday question. Okay,
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we vote on this thing.
Before we do that, could you just ask if anybody on Zoom would want to raise their hand and also speak on this application?
Sorry, my bad.
repeat that again.
Could you just ask them to raise their hand on Zoom if they want to speak?
Okay. Is there anybody who would like to speak on this application that's out there in Zoom? Question or anything on this application whatsoever?
No, it doesn't appear so.
Okay, entertain your motion.
Second.
Okay. That motion is seconded. Vote on it tonight. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. I will do a roll call vote on this. And we start with White Bill.
Approved.
Pete,
Approved.
Russ, approved. Ed,
Approved.
Rob,
Approved.
Applications approved as presented.
Good luck.
Under new business, we have Bamford Lake Properties. The applicant is Robert and Kathleen Marco. Location is AP 324 lot 020-003-00.72, 38 Lori Lane. The zone is RR2. Applicant is seeking a special use permit to remove existing cottage and install a 40 by 16 by 2 gravel pad and a cement block retaining wall.
Okay, applicant here.
Yes.
Okay, I have to do a full name for the record.
My name is Robert Stephen Marco, 34 Medieval Way, West Warwick, Rhode Island, 02893.
And your attorney.
Christopher Anderson. I am here on behalf of both Bamford Lakeside Properties, which is the property owner, and for Mr. Marco, who is the owner of the cabin on top. This is a situation of a cabin on leased land, the Warren's Edge Campground.
Okay, you're going to give testimony.
Yes.
Okay, at this time here, I'm going to ask you both to raise your right hand. You swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth before this court. Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
By way of background, Mr. Marco sought to demolish a cabin that is presently at the Warren's Edge Campground. Warren's Edge Campground consists of both a small number of stick-built cabins and primarily pad sites for trailers used for seasonal use, seasonal camping use. Mr. Marco sought to demolish his cabin at Warren's Edge and was directed to a zoning officer who questioned whether or not you could demolish the cabin and replace it with a site for trailer. Mr. Marco's intention is to remove the existing stick building structure and be able to put a smaller trailer, a trailer very consistent with all the other trailers that are at Water's Edge. And therefore, it was suggested to him that he apply for a special use permit to do this. After that special use permit was applied for is when I got a call from Mr. Marco explaining what he was trying to do. And at that time, I contacted the Bamfords who own the campground and said, do you want to do this? Because this is, after all, your land. And we're talking about a special use permit. So we're talking about the use of the land, really not the physical property on top of the land. And I was instructed that, yes, that was fine to proceed and assist with this application. So with that bit of history, as I started thinking about this, I actually questioned whether or not the special use permit application is needed. And I say that for the following reason. There's absolutely no change of use here. This cabin is one of the numbered sites at Water's Edge Campground. There'll be no expansion of sites. There'll be no changing of sites. It's simply taking a physical stick-built structure and replacing it with a pad site for a trailer. The stick-built structure is actually approximately 600 square feet, and the trailer that was going to be proposed to be on this pad site was going to be around 420 square feet. So I actually see this as a diminution in the use of the property. We're not expanding anything. We're not changing the use. We're not expanding the use. If anything, we are having a less intense use on this property. Also, I point out that Article 6 of the zoning ordinance lists the permitted uses in town. And Article 6G1, commercial outdoor recreation, talks about campgrounds. It talks about campgrounds as a whole. The use in this case is campground. I believe there's 106 sites. There'll be 106 sites if you approve or don't approve this. It won't change anything there. And therefore, there is no change of use. You're simply having a different structure on the property. Therefore, I'm requesting that either the board say, you don't need to be here for the special use permit. What you're seeking to do is just fine because it doesn't require a special use permit, or issue a special use permit either way, allowing my client to do what they want to do. I don't really care how we get there, but that it would be my argument. But I'm not exactly convinced we even need to be here on a special use permit for what they're seeking to do. And I'm happy to take any questions. And if there are questions I can't answer specific, I'll certainly have Mr. Marco come back up.
How big is the lot design?
The
Physical lot that the structure's on.
I'm not sure how to ask Mr. Marco that.
But the other side of the lot. Originally, it was 50 by 100, originally back when Cowell owned it, but they've since changed the structure of the road. There used to be a little small road behind our house, and it's on my diagram. And they've changed it where the parking area, they put another road in to help with the flow of the traffic that would go through the road. So probably about 50 feet wide, and we've been there since.
So we're talking 5,000 square feet, more or less.
We really don't use a lot of the land up on the hill because that's parking. We have a little parking area. Parking is a premium down there. And part of it's a road, which is what we're in. Now, we have a set of plans for what's there altogether, everything. Or we just do. I have two diagrams. One of the house. When I'm saying all 106. No. So we know what we're approving within. 27. Really, we're not changing any use. That's why I just don't know. I don't know what's there.
For the campground?
Yes.
The campground, all I can do is explain. The campground is 22 acres and consists of 106 sites, which are already pre-existing, have been in use for decades.
We should have the whole plan in front of us to know what I'm saying is all 106 sites. So the town agrees with what's there. Am I correct, solicitor?
I don't know if you need to see the entire campground.
I want to do the whole picture and put it all together. Can I show you on the map where we are? Yeah, sure. If you don't mind. You can't touch the screen. No, right here. So we're approximately right here. This is Tommy Forcier is here. Beth Caldwell is here. This is her house. And we're that's what I'm trying to figure out. What's approximately right
What's
here. The campground and what's not the campground? This is all.
It's all campground. The whole thing is the old Cowell's campground in town.
No, I understand it's not. See, that's why I'm confused. I understand where Sue's house is, that's private. That's not part of the campground. No. Am I correct?
No, it hasn't been for decades at this point.
A decade, that's what I mean. So we don't know what's part of the campground and what is and what isn't.
The campground is licensed every year. This is reviewed.
Right, but we should know what's going on so that we can, and I got no complaints. I think it's a great idea. I think it's super, but I just want to know what's there and what's not there.
Fair enough.
You can submit that.
Certainly.
Okay. And we can take a look at that. And then I think once we have a view of what the whole campground is, so we make sure it all fits together. And then I don't, unless somebody else has something else to say, we can review it at that time. Okay? The whole pictures all together.
Can I take this opportunity to field any other questions that there might be about at least what's been presented so far?
Right. Okay. So we'll just see what else.
Request the lot 20.3-72. That the whole campground? No, that's just
Just the one lot,
the one lot.
just the one cabin.
Okay.
So technically, we're approving this for the whole camp, correct?
No, this is a change on one specific
You don't
site.
have just one lot approved.
Exactly, which actually gets to my point that I'm not even
That's right,
convinced
that's
that
right.
this is even
We don't
a special
have
use permit.
Approvals for the whole campground, it's not just one lot.
I believe the only reason they're here, I may be wrong, Jane, is that it was a non-conforming deal and they're changing something.
That's correct.
So they have to be here. Otherwise, they wouldn't even have to be.
Right, it's a grandfathered use. Section 853 of our ordinance says if you change it in any way, you have to come to the board for a special use.
And all they're changing, Bob, is they're taking the building, removing it, putting a new pad
Right.
for a camp, replacing the building with the camper.
I agree.
And that's
So
I want to see what roads go to it, how it's set up.
For safety, for safety.
If I can jump in, this is very much like any of the other cases in the Hill Farm Camp Condo Association or Raymond's Point, where we've had cases where they tear down the entire structure and they want to rebuild a house. In this case, they're not rebuilding a house, rather they're making alterations to the land to prep it for a camper pad site. So it's much like those other applications, except there's not going to be a physical dwelling on the property, a permanent dwelling, I should say.
What about utilities, John? Any utilities?
I think the applicant can
wastewater.
speak more to that.
The utilities are there. It's the same, it'll be the same situation. Nothing changes with utilities.
Right,
The,
but this is,
the cabin is already serviced by the utilities. The trailer will be serviced by the same utility.
we're replacing a structure with a mobile home. And any of these other places you just mentioned, no mobile homes go out.
It's a
So
camper.
this brings it all together different.
It does, well, except it's a campground. It's still governed by the campground ordinance. It's still governed by, so we're still talking about seasonal use of a trailer, just like the other 100 sites that have the same type of trailers there. That's why I'm suggesting that the use is not changing at all.
Right, but it's just seasonal, not only,
Correct.
but the camper would, the mobile home would stay with you over there.
Many of them do. So I would
This one-
anticipate that this one probably would, just like lots of other ones.
this one's
And
year-round?
just like the physical structure that was there is certainly there year round. So again, there's no change in that aspect. Even if they were to leave it there year round, which many of the other campsites do, this one actually has a physical structure, which is there year round. So yes, if they left the trailer there year round, it still wouldn't be a change from the existing.
So they can use it.
No, because the existing, by ordinance, they're limited to 20% year round use.
Could this be one of the 20%?
My understanding is it would not be. Because the 20% right now, the year-round use campers are in one designated site. They're in one designated area.
Okay, see, that's the information I'd like to have.
Oh, and I'm happy to answer those questions. They have not used, the cabins there now has not been used year-round. It could potentially be used year-round if it fit into the regulatory scheme under the zone, under the campground ordinance. Which allows for a maximum of 20% year-round occupancy. That would be the same for the cabins there now.
Right. But I'd still like to see, even though you said the council's approved, I'd like to see the whole picture all together on what we are approving, so we know access to it and everything else.
Well, so as to access, right now, and I can have my client speak to this more, but there is a road that goes to it right now.
Right, but I'd like to see that. I'd like to visually see the map, and that's all set up and how it's set up. Everything else, we can submit that to it.
Sure.
Right down there and take a look at it and see it.
Just help.
We have pictures of it, Bob, right here. This is the road he just talked about. It comes up and it goes back up to the main drag and then it goes out on 117. When you come in, just before the wall, you take a right, get on Lorry Lane, over a couple of bumps, hang a left, and it's on the right-hand side.
But I'd like to see the whole picture there, so we know exactly what's going on. Let me see if there's anybody else that would speak up. Is there anybody here that wants to speak up? I have any questions? Yes, sir.
As far as my house, there's only
three houses on Lorry Lane that are there all the time. And like, the lawyer says, our lease is, we get on beginning of May, October 1st, that's it, we're done. We close up the house, we shut the water off, turn the power off, and we're out of there. Oh, so your lease is only for? Yes, certain months. Certain months. Even though we have the house, and we were the first ones in Carlos. We've been there for 66 years now. So the house needs work, and I'm just, thinking of another option to make it better for my kids. I agree with you. I don't disagree with you there. So that's where we are with the house. The house is just a separate entity on Lorry Lane that is part of the campground. We were 36 Lorry Lane, and now when Mrs. Bamford took over, we're number 4 Lorry Lane. So, and it's just a seasonal campground. We go down there, and it's like anywhere else. We just happen to have a house that is 66 years old. Okay. So
You have parking for the lot?
oh yeah, you can see across the street. It's kind of like, do you have a?
Oh, I see where you wrote here. Parking here.
Yes, it's like a little triangle. So I used to have all the way up the hill until they put the new road in. They put the new road a long time ago. So that really affected our parking area. So that's what I want to see. I want to see the whole picture, how everything works. That's not a big, no, that's what I thought But I only see your house and maybe 2 corners. I don't see everything. No, because I'm really not concerned, just my house, really not.
You got that one already?
Okay, all right, thank you. I hope I helped. Okay. Is there anybody online that would like to speak on this application? Okay, I would like to have the information submitted to the whole camp. Actually, voting on the whole camp, just not this one piece only. And it was over to next month. We had to originally given it to it, taken away. Yes.
What's that mean?
I don't know. I don't know what the whole picture is. That's what I'm saying. Originally, this came in front of us. Mr. Anderson came in front of us and spoken. What happened, understand anything else. The whole camper. I'd like to see what was developed and what happened.
So you want to see how lot 20-3 is subdivided?
I want to see how it's subdivided, how it's set up, yes.
I'll make a motion to table on the phone.
Second.
Motion made, second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh,
Nay. Okay.
The next application, the owner is a Church of St. Vincent de Paul. Applicant is Gregory Andrade. Location is AP 55 lot 22 to St. Vincent de Paul Street. Zone is R20. Applicant is seeking a special use permit to operate an adult daycare in an existing former school building.
Yeah, you haven't been here. Please give your full name and address.
Steve Brillard, for the applicant, 56 Pine Street, Suite 250, Providence, Rhode Island.
Gregory Andrade, 294 Robin Hollow Road, West Greenwich, Rhode Island.
Okay. You're the attorney. You're located here.
56 Pine Street, Providence, Rhode Island.
And where you are.
Gregory Andrade, I'm the owner of Andrade Adult Daycare. We're looking to relocate from Warwick to Coventry. I'll actually add another location.
Okay, now, who's representing the church?
There's nobody here representing the church. We have a letter of authorization from the order.
Okay, can you submit that to the attorney? Okay, so nobody here to represent the church, the owner of the property. Okay,
Wait, have you signed anything with that? Or did you- This letter says that they're authorized to go forward. I would.
Okay, go right ahead.
Andrea, if you let this in line.
Okay, yes, if you raise your hand, swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, by the board. Go ahead, sir.
Andrea, can you tell us what you plan to do with the property?
Yes. Currently, we're located at 1755 Baldwin Road in Warwick. We have an adult day center, and we're looking to add another location at the St. Vincent de Paul Church.
What types of services provide there?
We have clients from the ages of 21 and over. We supply recreational activities during the day. We go on outings. We supply physical therapy. We have nursing services. I'm a nurse, so we provide medical services if need be. Bingo, different type of social activities, arts and crafts. We have pool tables. So it's kind of like an adult boys and girls club, basically. Gets people out to socialize and meet other people.
What are the hours?
We're there 7 days a week from 8 to 4.
Be in the school?
I'm sorry?
It's in the school? Do you see?
Yeah, that's the goal to be, yep, in the school. Yep, we'll be able to utilize the whole building. Right now, we have about 105 people a day that we service.
You're going to transfer all those people, let them,
Yes,
so you already have the occupants.
yes,
You're just moving it from Ball Hill Road.
yes. Yeah, we're expanding, correct. So initially, we'll move everybody over and then figure out, who should go back to the initial location. And we're growing every day, so we'll get more people. Yeah, the goal is to have 2 locations.
Oh, you have 200. You have signing 400 people. Then weekdays, 30 to 40 in a week.
Yes,
Now, that's at both locations or just one?
that'll be one. That's where we are now.
What do you propose for this one?
We're going to move everybody to the new location initially, but we'll probably stay with those numbers because we're growing pretty quickly. So we'll probably have the 100, 105 daily and then 30 to 40 on the weekend.
Where they at Baldwin Road?
The transportation, how that'll work. And parking.
Yes, all the clients are bused in. We contract with various companies and they come in vans and buses. So as little as 6 people at a time, up to 14.
It's just a typo on that.
So they get there between 8 and 10 in the morning and they leave between 2 and 4 in the afternoon. Nobody drives. Everybody utilizes the transportation.
It's a nonprofit. Nonprofit,
Profit, we're for profit.
for profit.
Yes,
So it's in the school though, correct?
Yes.
that's what we're
School.
proposing.
Okay,
Yes, that's what,
Because I'm reading this and it's saying existing use church.
yeah, no,
actually used to
yeah,
be
the school is what we'll be utilizing. Yes.
All right, so, and to enter the property, you're not coming to say Vincent de Paul.
Yes, because it runs along Washington and Anthony Street. So we could come either way, come in either way. Probably the easier way, I think, would be to come in from Washington Street.
Well, the supply, Bobby, the supply used to be right up the side.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. I
Yeah.
can't quite figure
So
out
there's
when
two-
you're coming in.
There's 2 exits and entrances.
Yeah, St. Vincent de Paul wraps around from Washington to Anthony Street.
It's a 2-way street. It has been since
So it wouldn't be smaller.
it's not in our call.
Because it's actual private property.
Yeah, it's not
Must be a right of way, am I correct?
I don't know.
I'm sorry.
Off of Washington Street, is that a right of way?
Yes, yeah, it goes to the left of the plaza.
Yeah, they share a right away with the old Stop and Shop, if you will.
You go like that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's your age, so, let's not go there.
Sounds like a fantastic idea.
Mhm.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna put the school, which is the school, right?
Yes.
What's the name of the water business?
Android Adult Daycare.
All right, any other questions from any board members?
Did you at one point try to put one in Our Lady of Chester Harbor?
No.
Okay, because if the board remembers, I think at one point someone had come here.
Oh, that was,
The same, the pastor,
Wasn't
the
that a-
pastor was gonna do it while they were building a new.
I thought that was through the town.
Town, but it was the same type
It
of
was the
deal.
same idea, yeah.
Well,
How much staff would you have there?
We do a 9-to-1 ratio. So between administrative and direct care staff, and then we'll have students come in to do some physical therapy. Any given day, we could have 15 to 20 staff there.
I'm just nervous on Anthony Street. I don't know if we should. You're gonna direct the traffic out to Washington. You're not gonna go towards.
I think that's the better way because they can come around the front and wrap right around the church and exit right to Washington.
And, yeah, I mean, when St. Vincent's had a school, I mean, that's the way it ran. They came in from Anthony Street, and went out to Washington Street. But it wasn't really a one-way.
My daughter went there, see.
Yeah, they were there at one point.
I went to grammar school after.
And
Yeah, I know. I'm old. Not as old as you, but I'm old.
that's what, at least we beat. Okay, so what I'm nervous though, again, is I like the idea of routing all the traffic, right to the traffic. Not going, who's thinking this is before, but exit. Okay, anybody else have any questions on this?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna see if there's anybody in the audience have any questions on it.
Thank you.
Anybody just on this application? Anybody at all, any questions at all on it? Right? Okay, let's see if anybody online would speak on this application.
The Groton School was there up until recently. They had them in the church moved in different directions. I can't really speak to that as to why it was, but it went from St. Vincent. It was vacant for years. Groton Center moved in, then they ended up moving out. So this is a good deal. We have, a place for our seniors and
I agree.
the church will make a little bit of money on the rental of the church.
I'd like to make a motion that we vote on this tonight.
Second.
Okay, motion is made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
So one more question.
Sure.
So this means revenue for the town?
No.
No.
St. Vincent de Paul Church.
Well, it might be, but it's not.
This is for profit.
Well, then they could probably tax it. You're right. I didn't think about that. I thought about is some of the money going to go to that? Yeah, I guess taxes would go that way.
Yeah, I mean, if they're charging rent and a lease, should pay taxes. At least it's for profit. It's not the church.
I can't speak to that.
Yeah, I
It
can't.
certainly makes sense.
Taxes.
Probably just.
Probably the equipment inside that probably get taxed on, I'm sure.
The insurance is still exempt.
Tax exempt, the building.
I wasn't
I don't know, it's a tricky question. That's something that
Outside them.
It's not for us to do, to deal with tonight.
most they can.
Okay, Mike, how do you go on this application?
I approve.
Approved. Steve?
Approved.
I also approve. Rob?
Approve is presented.
Tony?
Approve.
Rob? Approved. Applications approved as presented. That's like an application.
Next application is Michael Ashenbalt. The location is AP 315 lot 73, 5337 Flat River Road. Zone is R5. Applicant is seeking a dimensional variance to construct a 12 by 36 by 10 barn 6 feet from the side property line where 30 feet is required.
Okay, is the applicant here? Please step up to the podium. Please give your full name and address.
Michael Ashenbo, 5337 Flat River Road, Green, Rhode Island, 02827.
Okay. Please raise your hand. You swear to tell the whole truth, that's what.
I do. I do.
Please explain to me what you're going.
I want to put a little barn shed in the side of my driveway. Post and beam, board and batten. It's convenient. I have a bad back and disabled. That's about it.
Okay, so looking for the plans, right? So you want to construct a 12 by 36 by 10 barn. Okay, 36 feet long.
Yes.
Good size barn.
Yes, sir.
And then the height will be 10,
It's 10 plus the rafters.
10 plus the.
Yes. I believe we had 19 feet cap, and I won't be anywhere near that for regulations I think we discussed.
All right, so you're gonna be a total of 19 feet high.
No, sir.
No,
Less. Probably with a rafter length, no more than 16.
so the total height from the ground up at the highest point
Yes, sir.
would be 16 feet.
Yes.
And what are you gonna have in the barn? It's gonna be in, lights, force in there.
ATVs, just storage.
So you're gonna have lights and electricity.
You're gonna have power in it, right?
Probably like down the road, I like we do that.
Are you gonna do it some?
No.
No. So, any heat?
No heat.
Okay, so this is gonna be strictly storage,
Yes, sir.
all right? You are gonna be how close to the property line?
It's approximately 6 feet.
That's tough.
You got 33 feet between the house and the structure, and then 6 feet. On the other side. There's a reason you're carrying at 33 feet.
It's more of the, I already put the slab in. I had the equipment. I got a bad back, so I got a bunch of stuff done in my yard. I had a skid steer and a dump truck. Well, I had a couple of guys who wanted to work, so I got a few projects done at the same time. I was thinking, so I had the guy put the slab in already at this location. So that's why I want to stick with this location on this.
Why'd you go so close to the property?
The way the yard's set up, it works perfectly. I can't, I got stuff everywhere in the yard. It's kind of full. It's neat. I have a lot of gardens. And this is on the side of my house. And I also have a deck that wraps around the house. It has corrugated steel on it, so it's opened up. So when I open up these sheds, I can have everything open, at the same time.
Now you got other sheds besides this garage?
Yes. Yeah, then we're way in the back.
All right, so the foundation's already there.
Yeah, it's a slab.
It's left.
Yes.
So if we went out and looked at it, we'd see.
I think the building inspector came out and shut it down.
Okay, but we can go out.
Oh, yeah, yes, I read.
What's next to you? What's the property next to you? Is it a house?
Rock wall,
Rock wall? And woods after that?
rock wall, and my neighbor's grass and so forth.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a good wall, the whole perimeter of the property.
Is this a prefab barn that you're buying?
No,
Post and
this
beams.
is a post and beam, house reconstruction, done right, nice. It does fantastic work.
It looks like there's a gravel road that runs along the side of the house up to the other property.
Oh, that's in my property, gravel road.
Right, is that
South.
where the barn would be in that area?
If you're looking straight at the house, directly to the right, the other side of the house.
This picture we have here, it looks like there's a little shed or dog.
I had a shed there
Would it
already.
be right where that, basically where that little shed was,
Correct.
but 6 feet off?
So that gravel road will be between the house and the barn.
That's correct.
Okay.
That gravel road is asphalt now. And
Okay.
the work is done.
How close are you gonna be to your next door neighbor's structure?
Quite a ways, 25 feet off the garage. This garage is on the other side of the law. I'm not really sure. I don't know his property, to be honest with you.
So you think you're gonna be at least 25 feet away?
I'm not sure. It looks quite a bit, but I mean, he drives his truck back there, so it's at least a truck wide plus whatever else.
John, can you pull up a picture of his neighbor?
I've been trying.
Okay.
Need to go see it.
Yes. Anybody else have any other questions? All right, let me see if there's anybody in the audience who'd like to speak on this application. Please take a seat, sir. And I'll let the gentleman step up. Please give your full name and address.
Ryan Lepre, 5325 Flat River Road, Green, Rhode Island, 02827.
I'm sorry, did you say 5325?
Yeah,
And how do you spell your last name?
Lapre.
Okay, raise your hand. You swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, upon this board?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, explain to me what your question.
Well, first of all, Mr. Archibald has quite a few structures on his property. My wife and I, since the start of COVID 2020, March of 2020, we've been working no less than 6 days a week, sometimes 7, me mostly 16 hours a day. So I see darkness in the morning, darkness at night. I came home one day early and seen a structure built. Not this one. There was already one on the back part of my property that was already built on his property. I'm sorry. Later, he started building another structure. My wife had told me about. She ran home between work and headed back out.
So you live right next door?
Right next door, sir.
On the right side, is your face 117?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, so I seen this structure going up, and that's when I had called the town. I know you had said you had seen other structures there that he claims to have got rid of or moved. No, I've got photos of all of them that I've taken either recently or today. I'll speak of some of them. He has 6 sheds on his property, 6. Some of them quite large. Some of them he built knowing that my wife and I were not around during this time, working, struggling every day. Give me a second, but so I'll start with structure 1. I just number them for myself. Structure, I've got them numbered on photos I have as well. Structure 1, approximately 12 feet by 24 by 12. No roof, ratty, tarps falling all off the place. All the stuff that he says he's handicapped, riding ATVs and all that stuff and all that jazz, unfortunately, are all scattered all over the yard, which I don't really mind. It's more of all of his trash, the numerous 20, 30, 40, 50 tires and rims and empty oil drums and car parts and everything everywhere. None of that, which you'll see in the photos if you look, are in the sheds. None of it. It's all over the place. So I'm not sure why he needs all these, but that's shed number 1. That shed is approximately 50 yards from my house, right on the property line. Literally, I can go like this to it, right on the property line. Okay, that shed was built, unfortunately, while my wife and I were going to work being essential workers. Shed number 2, which is only a few feet in front of shed number 1. Okay, approximately 6 feet by 7 by 8. Small little guy, doors flapping all the time. Okay. It's approximately 40 feet from my dwelling. 1 inch. I've taken a picture of my wife today, standing on our property line with her hand against it. It's right on our property line. Again, put there in the dark or during the day, I'm sorry, while my wife and I can't see it because we're at work. Structure number 3, another shed. Only feet away from behind shed number 1, I'm sorry. Only less than the 30 feet allowed from our property line again, that you'll see in the photos. Another approximately, I'm guessing, 8 by 8 by 10 shed. Again, trash all around it, stuff flapping, doors flapping in the breeze. Structure number 4, approximately 10 feet by 6 feet by 10, barn shaped. Again, another shed that is a little bit off to the side of shed 3. Again, all right next to one another. This one's further from my property line, but again, another shed, stuff all around it, nothing inside. Page shed number 5. It's a metal container. This is actually on the opposite side of his property, not close to mine. My concern is, again, you can see right into it because there's piles of stuff all around the outside, all around it. Junk, trash, polluting. We have well water. I'm sure it's doing something to the ground. And I'm sure this will be a problem years down the line when Mr. Archambault isn't around anymore. Me being younger, it's still there. And then the town comes in and goes, wow, look at all this trash. But again, you'll see in the photos. And then, of course, structure number 6, because why we need 6. That's approximately, the metal container was approximately like a 20-foot metal container. Structure number 6 is a 6 by 6 by 10 shed. This is closer to his house. Again, in the photos, you'll see the door open, flapping in the breeze, stuff all over the place in the yard. My question is why? Why is this structure that he just put up while I'm at work right on my property line? Why does he already have another one? Why does he have 2? Like, he's building a wall. Why is this being allowed? Like, I just don't, all I do is go to work. I try to do the right thing. I go to work, I pay my bills, I pay my taxes, and I come home when I can see daylight for once. And I've got just buildings being built along my property line. I guess I'm doing the wrong thing. I must be. By going to work, I should have stayed home through COVID. My wife and I worked 3 jobs, 1 full-time, 80 hours a week during the middle of COVID. I worked for the town of Foster. Okay, and I worked for Home Depot. I didn't quit 1 job. I worked all of them. Okay, worked my butt off. My wife, who's here as well, she worked 3 jobs in the last 2 years. Okay, and then what do? We come home and this is what we see. Thank you for letting me speak. I think this should speak for itself. The photos should speak for themselves.
Okay, those photos you can submit to the board.
I'll bring it up.
Can you leave them with us?
I can hand it to you or
He meant
Copies.
you
Can I
need to
email it?
email them.
yeah, I certainly can email them to an email address.
Give them to the board.
Yeah.
She can send them to us. Okay.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Does anybody else like to speak on this application? Anybody else? Suggest we continue this. I want to speak with anybody online. To speak on this application. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if Bob can talk into the microphone. It's very difficult to hear anything you're saying here on the Zoom.
Deborah, can you hear us?
Yes. Yes, I can hear you.
See.
Maybe tell her she has it on mute.
Deborah, can you hear us? Can you speak?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Please.
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me?
That's better.
Can you hear me?
Deborah, can I see you, please?
I don't have a camera. I don't have a camera.
You can let her testify. You can, yeah.
Please give me the information that you'd like to hear, but I'd also like to have your full name and address.
My only comment is that, Bob, we cannot,
Deborah, have your full name and address.
we can't hear you on the Zoom meeting because you're not talking into the microphone close enough. So I wondered if you could adjust that.
Can I have your full name and address? Full name and address.
Thank you very much.
Hello, Deborah. You still there?
I think the only comment was to say they couldn't hear us.
I believe so.
Hello, Deborah.
Yeah, I think that's what.
I think she was just simply saying she couldn't hear us if we didn't speak into the microphone. I don't think it had anything to do with this application.
Yeah, but we don't know that. You still there?
He is correct. I can't hear you, Bob, until you speak directly into the microphone.
Okay, can you give us your full name and address?
I can't do that. I am on a private voter roll for domestic violence protection, so I can't give my full address publicly.
Okay, can you give me the questions you have?
My question is, can you please speak into the microphone so we can hear you through the Zoom meeting?
Yes, yes. Do you have any questions on this application?
No, that was my only comment. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right. Is there anybody else out there that would like to speak?
No.
Okay, gentleman in the back has his hand up.
That's the applicant.
You're the applicant? Yes, please come up.
Quite the testimony there. I don't do this stuff at night. I'm disabled. I'm home all the time. My shed doors are open because I work in my yard. I invite all of you into my yard and property tomorrow, anytime you want, and you come and see it. It's absolutely beautiful. I have flowers everywhere, trees, fruit trees, gardens. I take very well care of my property.
Okay. All right, we will go up and see it.
Years.
We will go up and see it.
Please do.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I got one question. Did you supply this drawing here?
Yes, sir.
The magic marker, what is that? Barn doors?
With the doors.
Are they gonna be facing your house or facing the property line?
Facing my house. Okay, correct.
Okay.
And for me to be
Thank you.
anything behind my neighbor's back, it's totally absurd. I'm home all the time. I'm a disabled veteran.
Okay, when did you put up all these sheds?
With one of them, I had permission from the neighbor back in 17. I made a check with his permission. I said, "You mind it here?" He said, "No, go ahead. Find the your property, do what you want."
So you didn't take out any permits for any of these sheds?
That's correct.
Okay,
So that one's way in the backyard. It's approximately 300 feet off the road. It's in my yard.
right.
The other one's a little small one. I pushed it with my skid steer to get it out of the way down the road further. These sheds are not staying. I'm looking for a permanent structure, and I'll get rid of a couple of these other ones. They were just there temporary until I can get something secure for all my stuff.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any other questions from anybody on the board? All right, I suggest we take this under advisement and continue this meeting
So moved.
Take a look at the location. Okay, motion's made by Russ, seconded by Ed. Continue this for next month after the review of the location. Okay,
The next application is Guy Gill. The location is AP 33 lot 6.13-57, 57 Hill Farm Camp Road. Zone is RR2. Applicants are seeking a special use permit to construct an additional 6 feet to an already existing deck.
Mr. Chairman, Tom Scronin and Guy Gill for the applicant.
okay, Mr. Gill, your full address is?
Guy Gill, 57 Hill Farm Camp Road, Coventry.
Okay, I ask you both to raise your right hand. You swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth as long as board? Okay, please present your application.
I'd like to point out to Mr. Ianardi that he has a good memory and that Jane Elizabeth did appear before this board with regard to the OLC school and receive approval,
Yes, we did.
but did not.
They didn't move on it.
The renovation apparently too expensive. I tried to chase those guys down, but I'm not losing it. Yeah. So
it's
now
kinda close to
before
the house.
you is 57 Hill Farm Camp Road. It's in the Hill Farm Camp condominium. As Ms. Grisenda correctly pointed out earlier, it's a non-conforming structure due to its location in a condominium, which is one piece of land here in the town. It has its own deeded right in lot 57. Mr. Gill proposes to add 6 feet to the western of the house and build a roof.
This is not part of the condominium?
It is part of the condominium, number 57. And extend the deck by 6 feet and build a roof over the entire deck. There's no neighbor on that side. It's a body of water. The utilities, trash, access, all the special use permit items will remain the same. We're simply here before the board because it is an increase in the non-conforming use by 6 feet. That's what's happening. And we'll answer any questions. We submitted the architectural plans to the board.
We have Mr. Gill presented before us in the past.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is a much smaller project than the last.
Yes, I thought so. Okay, so you're just gonna put on, how big of a project is it gonna be?
Increase the deck width by 6 feet and then put a roof over the existing deck plus the additional 6 feet.
And this is all gonna be on the pond side?
On the pond actually.
Right.
Man, I guess.
Okay, like you said, the pond wraps around the house, so this is gonna be,
The additional 6 feet is going away from.
we're going away from the, okay. What you did in the past was very nice.
The deck's going to be on the gable end. Yeah.
Okay, that helps me out. You still got plenty of room for parking with the new development and everything else?
There's no parking where this structure is built.
No, I know, but you still have plenty of room, plenty of parking. Okay, does any other board members have any questions? Yeah, I see no other questions. All right, I'm gonna ask you, Yeah, no,
Very
everything that
good.
Mr. Gill does has to know.
I was over there the other day.
All right, I'm gonna ask you both to take a seat and see if there's anybody who'd like to speak on this application. And I see nobody who'd like to speak on this application. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak? I mean, online.
Deborah is raising her hand, but it's possible that she just didn't unraise her hand, but I think just to be safe, we
Can you
should
get in touch with
let
her?
her in. Yeah. Oh, no, she lowered her hand, so we're all set.
Okay, all right, okay. Anybody else got anything? Okay,
I make the motion we vote on it tonight.
Second emotion.
I approve, okay, motion made and seconded. All those say aye, who approve.
Aye.
Nays to disapprove. Okay, Ross, and it's start with you. Ross,
Approved as presented.
okay, Ed. Approved. Ross Pelletier. Approved. Keith.
Approved.
Mike.
Approved.
I also approve. Application is approved as presented.
Next application is Lisa Plouffe. Location is AP 18 lot 62, 54 Wisteria Drive. Zone is R20. Applicant is seeking a dimensional variance for 35% lot coverage where 20% is allowed, as well as 12 feet from the side yard setback where 20 feet is required.
Okay, so we're just here for the dimension, right? Is the applicant here?
Hi.
I'm gonna ask you to give your full name and address,
Lisa Clough, 54 Wisteria Drive, Coventry.
sir.
Scott Bluff, 54 Wisteria Drive, Coventry, Rhode Island.
Okay, and ask you to raise your right hand. You'd like to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth in front of this board.
I will.
Okay. Please explain to me what you'd like to do.
Yeah, so basically, our in-laws are get to that age where they aren't able to handle themselves at home. A lot of them are sort of medically down. We're looking to build an additional in-law apartment on the side of our house to bring those family members closer to home and take care of them.
Okay, the apartment's gonna be 12 feet from the rear property line where 20 feet is required.
Mr. Chair, that's side property line.
Oh, that's side, not rear. Okay. Oh.
Well, again, it's a side property line.
Side, I get it, yeah. The way it's written up here, it's in the rear, yeah. We're 20, so it's 20 feet required on the side?
Yes. It's actually a conforming lot. They have 20,740 square feet where 20,000 is required.
So it's a non-conforming lot?
It's a conforming because they have over 20,000 square feet.
Okay, I agree. Yeah. So, but they're gonna, lot coverage will be seeking 35%, or 20% is allowed. All right, so they're gonna be seeking an additional 15% on lot coverage, correct?
Most of the lot coverage is already existing. So it is gonna, the addition will increase the lot coverage, but a lot of it's already existing.
What do you mean by?
It is. So they have an in-ground swimming pool, the garage, the house, anything that's not impervious surface is considered lot coverage.
Okay. So if we didn't include the swimming pool and everything else, will we still be in the lot? Will we still be?
No, because that's all part of the lot coverage. It's already there. So you have to include walkways, driveways, the house, a shed, a pool, anything that's impervious surface or permanent is part of your lot coverage.
Okay, thank you.
So where are they at right now?
It should be stated in your report. I don't have that right in front of me.
Which side of the house is in question here?
So if you look at the house, it's the left hand side to the left of the garage.
We have a lot of.
Now, what do we do with these after the in-law is no longer there?
We'd like to convert that to a family room, so it overlooks the pool. So it's basically gonna be an open space there, it's just gonna have a bedroom for them, and you replace the room a little bit, and then unfortunately, when it's no longer in use, we'd like to convert that into a family room and actually keep our kids home with us.
No, it's not very reasonable.
So this is septic system you have?
We have an existing one there, we're gonna.
We have to
change it
update
and
because it's a
upgrade.
adding a bedroom.
Yes.
So we're gonna upgrade.
That's plans.
Yeah, we
plans.
did.
See it. But I always question that because I always think it's, if you had a bathroom.
Yeah.
It's not, it's a bedroom.
Yes.
Did you get DEM approved yet?
Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
So you've already got the DEM approved.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Sweet.
Okay, is there any other questions from the board?
I'm good.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you to take a seat and we shall see if there's anybody else has any questions on it.
Just grab them away online.
Okay. All right,
Chairman.
Mr. Chairman,
yes,
have you heard?
yes,
Thomas Cronin, 52 Wisteria Drive, Coventry, Rhode Island.
yes.
I'm Lisa and Scott's next door neighbor. So if you looked at that picture that he pulled up, I'm immediately to the side of this addition. They're super nice folks. They keep their property up great. I'm 100% in favor. And I'm the one that's looking at it out my bedroom window, so I'm okay with it. Thanks.
Well, that's important.
Where's your property? The 63?
47 is my house.
Do they let you go in his pool?
We got a pool. Nobody uses it, Eddie. You want to come over? There is. Anyway, we both have corner lots. The houses are not square to the road. It makes this corner lot side setback a difficult thing to manage. And even you can see how they're hemmed in by the curve and everything there. It's going to fit in nice. It's not going to change the neighborhood. And like I said, I'm 100% in favor.
Where's your house? The bottom picture?
Right there.
Oh, across? Okay, right there, right?
So
Nice.
this is proposed the addition.
Yeah.
And this is my house.
Cool.
It's very important that you spoke tonight, Mr. Cronin.
Thank you.
There's a lot.
It does. Okay, with Mr. Cronin speaking in favor of this, I have no complaints on voting on this tonight.
I make a motion we vote on it tonight.
Second it.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays, ayes have it. All right, Mike New, how do you vote on this?
Approved.
Keith?
Approved.
I also would, well,
Approved.
and
Approved.
Rob,
Approved.
okay. Application is approved as presented.
Good luck.
Next application is Gina Mahoney. Location is AP 101 lot 0010 Chase Road. Zone is RR2. Applicant is seeking to renew a special use permit to construct a playground and parking lot to be used for the proposed daycare.
Yeah.
She's back.
Pardon?
Back.
Yes, back. Is this on? Thank you.
Okay, please give your full name and address.
I will. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. My name is Mary Shikarchi. My office is located at 240 Chestnut Hill Road, in Warwick, Rhode Island, 02888. I am the attorney representing the applicant this evening. And with me is Mr. Nicholas Beltry. He is a professional land surveyor and the site designer. If I may just give you a little bit of a background before Mr. Beltry is sworn in. This application has come before you. This is our third time. It's a unique piece of property in that the proposal is for an early learning center, and the property is located in both Situate, with the frontage being in Situate, And the parking lot and the back part of the property, which is essentially landlocked, is the parking lot. The building that is proposed will be totally in Situate. We came here in 2018 for a special use permit for the parking lot. It was approved. We then had to go through the permitting process in Situate. They had some changes. And one of the changes was we changed the parking scheme, working with our traffic engineers in the town. And we needed to add additional parking in the back. We came back before this board with that revised proposal in 2019. It was granted. Unfortunately, in 2020, with the pandemic, the permit expired and the project was put on hold. We are luckily back putting the project back into position. So we're here before you this evening, seeking the special use permit. Nothing has changed in the proposal from 2019. We're proposing 30 parking spaces. We did change the parking scheme to make it safer as a result of the traffic engineer's recommendations. It is now a better traffic flow, which Mr. Veltri will explain, and a few other additions that we added back in 2019. So briefly, I will just have Mr. Veltri sworn and give you a brief overview of the proposal to refresh your memory, if you so want.
I'm going to ask you a dumb question.
No, I doubt it's dumb.
Who's saying that you got to come back in front of us?
I believe it was.
It's stated in the ordinance.
Yeah, after 1
Okay,
year.
but that was all expired by the state of Rhode Island. Once it was approved, you didn't have to come back for a continuance.
It's not a continuance, it's a renewal because the permit 2019, I believe, has a 1 year. Is that correct?
Right. And then they came back for a 6-month, which expired in April 2021.
Mhm.
So nothing's changed. This is more like a legality to pick up where they left off, which has already been granted. You have 1 year, as stated in the zoning ordinance, to either start some sort of construction process in order to not lose your permit.
They didn't start it. It expired.
I understood by the state. They didn't have to come back for 5 years.
Well, the
Yeah,
town thinks we're. I actually have a couple of questions, so I'd like to talk about it if we can.
Okay, sir, can you
Thank
please
you.
give your full name and address? So I can swear you in.
Nicholas Veltri, professional land surveyor, 26 Juliet Road, Narragansett, Rhode Island.
Okay, I'm going to ask you both to raise your hand if you're both going to give testimony. You swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in front of this board?
I do.
Thank you.
Oh, Mr. Veltri,
It's okay.
yes, sorry, I moved it. Okay. You are the site designer for this project, correct?
Yes, I surveyed the property. We did a topographic survey. We located whatever utilities there's out there. We also designed the layout of the parking lot. It was actually in conjunction with the traffic engineer who was hired by the applicant. And this plan here reflects the changes were made in 2020, I guess, or 19.
Actually, 19.
2019.
Yes, can you, as you know, this is in 2 different municipalities. You can just explain it,
Yes.
show the property line and explain what we're doing, seeking a special permit for it in Coventry.
This is here is the town line, Situate, Coventry. The property faces Old Furnace Road. The entrance is in front of it is a one-way in. Actually, I'm sorry, it's a 2-way, but this is for the bus to turn around. The parking itself is at the rear of the property and falls within the rear lot, which is in the town of Coventry.
And you have, excuse me, can you just explain what you did with the landscaping? And also, I know there's some issues with lighting that we addressed.
Yeah, yes, well, there is another plan here. Basically, we have 28, 30 handicaps. The lighting is going to be in such a way that will not shine onto the abutting properties. It's within the site. It's going to be also the It's gotta be a bright light enough to give light to the parking area.
So what they consider privacy lights, they don't, they stay, so they're causing light pollution, is that correct?
Yeah, that is the goal is to keep everything within the site and not to shine outside of the perimeter of the property.
And on the perimeter, you have proposed landscape.
Yes, well, the Chase Road is a page. In Coventry and also in Situate, and in Situate was a band. So what we did here, we have a buffer, 10-foot wide buffer all the way around, and here gets moved in, and then along the boundary here, we find the people right here, and our house. We also have a 10-foot wide vegetative screen, and there is an island in the middle also, so that will keep the flow of traffic going one way only. So basically, the idea is to have the site, not much visible to the neighbors.
And lastly, the trash is on in the town of Coventry, the trash receptacle, correct?
Yeah, at the end of the parking area, there is a fenced-in area for the removal of trash.
And you're familiar with the standards for a special use permit here in the town of Coventry, correct?
Yes.
And in your opinion, will those standards be satisfied by this proposal?
Yes.
I have nothing further with this witness.
That's what you are.
Just a couple of questions. Why is it have a Chase Road address?
I think it's just the way the town of Coventry has it listed in here.
Okay.
Assessors.
Okay. Years ago, we used to be able to traverse that road from Coventry through. It was wide enough to drive a truck through.
Is that Chase Road you're speaking of?
Yes. I go that way many times. I'm associated with the fire department in Situate also. And I notice now that the part, I guess you just said that Situate abandoned. So a large portion, a lot of that land is now gone and there's rocks holding that wall up. There is still property along that line. It runs up a very, very steep hill. How are those people supposed to access that area? I thought they would have been able to come in from Hope Furnace Road, but I guess because Situate abandoned it, so they're kind of stuck in a.
I believe Chase Road goes right out to 116.
It does. For years,
I surveyed the property.
for years, the only access to Chase Road was that was decent was on the Naughty Oak Road side of it or the Coventry side of it. But it was wide open. Years past, we actually drove brush trucks down through there because we had a fire on the side of that hill. But I was just curious as to how that road that was a lot wider than it is now gone.
So I really don't know why, but one thing I can shed light on is back in October of 1980, the town of Situate officially abandoned the road, this road. So that's what they did. That's 1980.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I know. And that's where the contract.
So the portion of the road that's now gone is basically in Situate.
So yes, that's correct. They go obviously have jurisdictional.
Okay. That's it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You said there was a traffic study?
Yes, absolutely.
What was the outcome? Do you have documents?
I believe it was already sent in the file for the town, but yes, the short summary of it is that it was recommended to have the traffic flow, the drop off and toward the building and then a turnaround one way. So just to have and a lot of signage, just to keep it in two angle parking.
Yeah, it gets pretty busy on that road.
So this was looked over extensively and there are reports. But this application was actually approved based on other stuff that was submitted previously. So this is just a renewal, but that stuff had been submitted prior to.
What was the date on that? When did that happen?
I'd have to look at the file. I mean, it could be 18 or 19.
I believe it's 2019.
Many more houses have been built.
up in the back in there and that.
Right, but this-
traffic flow coming through that room.
I just maybe shed a little light as to what it said. I mean, like I said, the report is in the town's file, and it was reviewed. But those concerns for Hope Furnace Road are technically in Situate, and that engineer in the town had reviewed that along with the traffic expert. And the flow is to come in and have the buses in the front and the traffic for drop off of the children in the back and staff. I mean, we don't anticipate a lot of visitors. It's just enough for staff to meet the adequate parking for the size of the building. But the buses will come and then the drop off in the front to have it separated. And it's a very designated time. It's not like there's traffic flow all day long. I mean, it's the drop off and pick up basically. So that was the reason for the change.
During the morning commute.
Pardon?
During the morning
Actually,
commute.
it varies. It does vary. It starts quite early and it goes almost down to 10. So it's not like 8 o'clock like a school bus because it's early a learning center. So it's not like I would say like I guess elementary school, everybody's in at the same time. It does vary the timing. Same with pickup.
Yeah.
So there's after hours as well. Yeah. But again, that the circle first was already essentially approved. We are at final in the town of Situate.
It was approved, but there's been a lot of housing built.
Right, but we can't
All
speak
they're
on.
concerned about is the piece of coverage in the parking lot.
Yeah.
That's all
Situate.
Situate.
One thing I just want to point out, I know that you had an application that was already approved. That was in 2018. But you are coming here de novo. You are coming here as a new applicant because all your previous approvals have now expired.
Yes, we're aware of that. But when we filed, we were advised that the studies were the same, so we didn't have to resubmit them. They were already in the file. So we understand it's de novo.
Right, but who advised you of that?
I believe it was
It was our office.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
discussed it at length.
Yeah.
Right, okay. The board has jurisdiction to look at all this again if they want. So in defense of
Thank you.
member new.
But the only thing that's
he is
really
right.
before
It
us is the
a-
parking lot behind the school.
Right, I know, but
It's mostly Situate.
It's all
Correct.
assessment, really.
But
he's got a great.
you are,
Oh,
let me just
absolutely.
explain to you, the application is for a special use permit. You have on your criteria adequate parking, ingress and egress, all of that. That's all within your jurisdiction. So even though it's just parking, and yes, the majority of this application is in Situate, you do have jurisdiction to look at these things. You're not restricted.
You're a lawyer. I'm not. I'm just the parking lot. You can't get to the parking lot until you go through Situate. So we asked for a couple of concessions in regards to traffic, and they were good enough to do that. So, but you want to look at it again? I have got no problem with that. But
I'd like to see a traffic study.
it's not within our. You can look at it, but it doesn't really. We don't have any concern over it. It's not in our town. Do what you want.
Then I'm not going
I'm
to.
just giving you my opinion. That's all.
Okay.
Okay.
With all due respect, we did submit it. So it is in the application. It is in the file.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed. And
My
we
concern-
were, I understand, sir. I just wanted to say that it was approved. We are at final subdivision approval right now in the town of Situate. So they have.
My concern is it's old. It's old data.
Mhm.
More houses have been built.
Mhm.
The traffic's heavier.
Mhm.
It could be a problem.
With all due respect, I don't see it a problem for the town of Coventry. Again, it's my legal opinion, because you have no jurisdiction in Situate. So I think it's the ingress and egress, which was a concern as soon as we hit the property line here in the town of Coventry. In fact, it was recommended that we increase it by 4 feet and add in a sidewalk around the whole building and extend the parkway so that egress would not be jammed up once we got into the town of Coventry. And we did provide that.
Is the property fenced?
I don't believe it is at the moment. No, it's not constructed yet. But there will be a buffer around the property and some fencing around it, which is required, I believe, by state law to have an early learning center.
Right, so it will be fenced, and I know that at one point, when they first applied, they were sent back to the drawing board, so to speak, to angle the parking spots a certain way so that people couldn't back out and then have it all jammed up and coming in and out. All the parking spots were angled on a certain way so that when they backed out, they could only come around counterclockwise to exit the property. I mean, they did, I understand what you're saying, and I respect what you're saying, but in all honesty, they did go back and reconfigure everything so that there wasn't much of a log jam, so to speak, coming in and out of this parking lot. You couldn't have people coming in, multiple ways. And like I said, they are going to put a fence in the back.
And the reason this project was stopped was because of COVID.
Absolutely because of COVID.
I understand.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
Okay, is there anybody else who'd like to speak on this application? Or any other questions from the board? All right, is there anybody online that would like to speak on this application? Okay, my understanding is because of COVID, that the 1 year does not proceed with this, but legally, I don't know.
It doesn't matter what delayed it. They're, they still have to come back. And you have the right to look at it as if it's a brand new application, if you wish. But they do have all the submissions. There was a lot of thought and work put into it, as Carrie stated. They've complied with all your requests, or the department's requests in their defense. But then again, you're looking at data from 2019 as to traffic and other things. And you've got that's a very busy area. You've got the Hope Furnace Road meeting with Naughty Oak Road. You've got the Hope Mill across the street that, and there's a lot of activity there. So you're correct to be cautious and want to look at everything closely. And you are an entirely different board than was the one that approved it back in 2018, almost entirely.
Sure. Okay, would you like to make
I make a motion we vote on tonight.
Second it. Second, okay, all those approved by saying aye?
Aye.
Nay? Okay, application approved to vote on tonight. Okay,
vacation, what are we voting on? Help me
we're
with
just
that.
voting on special use permit as done in the past. There's really no change in the application. My understanding, absolutely no change.
Can you walk me through that, please?
Okay, so what's before you is a parking lot, basically. A parking lot that services a daycare center that is located in the town of Situate. Your jurisdiction starts at the town line, which is, behind the daycare center somewhere thereabouts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to look at the criteria for a special use permit, which is ingress, egress, parking, utilities, garbage disposal, and
Safety.
signage, and lighting.
Safety.
Yes, well, that's all part of ingress and egress. Is there safe ingress and egress from this lot? Can you get in and out of this location safely? Yes, that is part of your criteria.
Okay, I'm gonna do a roll call vote, starting with people who are on the original. Eddie Ionati.
I approve.
What else, Lockley, Chief?
Approve.
I also approve.
Approve.
Keith approves. That's 1, 2, 3. And the other full-time individual is Russ Pelletier.
Approve.
Applications approved as presented.
Thank you.
The next application is Eric Ferguson. The location is AP 63, lot 69, 51 Black Rock Road, zone is R20. Applicant is seeking a dimensional variance for 5 feet from the property line where 10 feet is required and dimensional relief for lot coverage to install a pool.
Good evening, Attorney Jeremy Ricks. I'm here with the applicant and owner, Eric Ferguson.
Okay, you gave your full name and address, correct?
Attorney Jeremy Ricks, 469 Centerville Road, Suite 206, Warwick, Rhode Island.
Okay, I'm gonna ask the applicant to give us your name and address.
Eric Ferguson, 51 Block Rock Road, Coventry, Rhode Island.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you both to raise your hand. You swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth in front of this board?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, please present your application.
Thank you. Chairman, members of the Honorable Zoning Board. Been a long agenda, and so I'll try to keep it brief. We tried to, for this application, special use permit for a swimming pool. Tried to give the whole picture, also dot all the i's, cross all the t's, make sure that we were coming before this board before any construction was done, do it all the right way. In this situation, this pie slice shaped piece of land provides a hardship in that it would be very difficult to put this, really impossible, to put this pool anywhere on the property that was not within 10 feet of one of those setback lines due to the characteristics of the shape of the pre-existing non-conforming property. And there had previously been a pool on that very same site some decades earlier that was also pre-existing at that time before the zoning came into effect. However, because that pool had been removed some approximately 15 years ago, it is required for us to come before the board as opposed to if that pool had been immediately replaced or had never been removed. I believe that the details are provided in the application. I would yield for any questions.
Do you have any pictures of the old pool?
We do not.
About 15 years ago.
Were you the owner of the property when it was there?
The pool? No, it was the house.
Oh. So you could give testimony that the pool was there?
Oh, yeah. That's why I'm here.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I can get testimony.
Okay, that's what I need.
He's close friends with his brothers. So.
Okay. All right, any other questions from the board?
I've got a question. Is that a pond in the back? Like, there's a few trees and there's a pond. So there's only like really one neighbor that would see the pool potentially.
Yeah, just one of whole variance with.
Yeah.
Where I had full spot.
Yeah.
He's the only one I look out and do and see.
Okay.
I would just add as a formality that this application, it does also include a variance for the total lot coverage. Just wanted to make sure to put that on the record. And I'd also mention that speaking with my clients, a total of 4 of the 200-foot abutters reached out to him. All just had questions that were satisfied and there were no objections.
All right. Okay. Any other questions from the board? Okay, I'm gonna ask you to take a seat, see if there's anybody in the audience that'd like to speak on this application, for or against, or just have a question. Okay, I'm also gonna ask if there's anybody on the line that would speak on this application. No. Okay. Any comments from the board on this application?
They're not asking for.
They're not asking, there's nothing, it was already there once, so it's my.
I make a motion, you want to.
Don't move. Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Okay, how do you?
Approve.
How do you approve? Chief? Approve. I also approve, Keith?
Approve.
Mike? Approve. Okay, applications approved as presented.
Good luck.
The auto bond is no longer in front of us tonight, am I correct?
That's correct. And Dwayne DeRoches is continued to August.
Okay. And do we have anything else I'd like to bring up? Okay, I would like to apologize for not meeting last month. I should have checked the town charter. I gave you all a copy of it. I don't understand why the meeting was canceled. I feel sorry for the people. And as Carrie's caught in a spot where she has a boss that tells her what to do and how to do it. She's only following directions, and I understand that. But the next time I'm gonna ask for come in front of this board, as you can see by the town charter, the board has the right to refuse any of those directions or approve. Okay, so the next time that would come in front of the board.
Can I ask who directed her?
May I just interrupt for a moment?
You directed her or not?
No, no.
Can you-
I have to
First,
what?
can we?
It's not.
It's not on the agenda and I don't feel like having an open meetings.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, no, because we gotta solve this for the future.
You can put it on next month's agenda. Put it on next month's agenda and you can discuss it openly.
Okay.
Okay,
Put it
but
on next
right
month.
now you can't do it. You can't discuss, you
do it.
cannot
We were
discuss. it.
told that it was by the charter review. I looked up the charter review.
Yeah, it's gonna be on the agenda, but
In order for you to have a substantive discussion of this issue, you have to put it on the agenda.
Okay, I want it on the
Okay.
agenda.
Can't talk about any subject not on the agenda.
Right.
No, and the abundance of, there are fine points in the open meetings law that may allow limited discussion, but I really don't want to
Unfortunately,
experiment
the
with that.
taxpayer had to pay the penalty of waiting a whole month, which is not fair to the taxpayer.
Right, and we can't get into those details right now, but we can put it on the agenda for next month and discuss it in more
I was thinking
detail.
on the agenda, just talking to Kelly.
Yeah, yep, you can put anything on the agenda.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, did we approve the May minutes?
Yes.
We did tonight? Must have been sleeping.
All right. I thank you all for coming.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
I did.
Ross seconded, chief, the old timer, and all those approved, say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Okay, all approved.
Thank you.